Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into my official NFL Week number 7 picks and predictions, where I predict the final score of every NFL matchup, and we begin Thursday night, NFL, Amazon Prime, New Orleans coming off another loss. Defense hasn't been impressive. They're on the road in Arizona, and we've got the Cardinals trading for Robbie Anderson, getting DeAndre Hopkins back off that 6-game suspension. The Cardinals right now 1.5-point favorites. Guys, let's not make this more difficult than it needs to be. Kyler Murray's still a good quarterback. He's at home. He's due for a breakout game. And he's got his superstar number 1 wide receiver back. New Orleans still dealing with problems. You've got Jarvis Landry banged up. Michael Thomas banged up. The quarterback situation between Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston. And again, guys, the Saints defense the past 3 weeks has not been good. Arizona is due for a home win. They're due to cover. They do both of those. They get a win. Kyler Murray possibly 3 passing touchdowns in this game, 27-17 to kick it off on Thursday night. Moving to the 1 o'clock slate, we've got a little NFC, AFC. It's Atlanta. They will be traveling to Cincinnati. Guys, the Falcons 6-0 against the spread, listed as 6-point underdogs, and I am chasing this. It just cannot continue. The Falcons will not cover this spread. They had the surprising win last week, very big win against San Francisco. I think Cincinnati is back. They showed it last week. Jamar Chase, the 2 touchdowns, the over 100 yards. The offense in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow looks good. The defense kind of getting a little bit better. Cincinnati at home, 28-20. Their offense looks good. Atlanta, they've really kind of overachieved. Of course, the 6-0 against the spread. I just can't trust Marcus Mariota on the road. This is a clear run-first team, which spells major problems when they have a negative game script. If Cincinnati gets up early, it could be big issues because they're obsessed with running the ball. We've seen very little targets recently in the past few weeks to Drake London, Kyle Pitts. They're not getting the ball. Fantasy managers are pissed. And it's a situation where they had the perfect game script against San Francisco. It's manageable against a team like Cleveland with Jacoby Brissett. Now you're on the road in Cincy against an offense that has finally broken out. I will take Cincinnati to cover this spread just barely and win this game outright, 28-20. The next 1 o'clock game, we've got the Green Bay Packers. My goodness, have they been bad. Their defense is so disappointing. They're traveling on the road in Washington. Of course, Carson Wentz is going to be out for this game with a finger issue. Taylor Heinicke will be starting. I really don't think it affects this game very much. I do wonder if the Commanders, if Taylor Heinicke plays bad this week, do they possibly look at Sam Howell, considering who's their future quarterback? It's clearly not Carson Wentz. It's clearly not Taylor Heinicke. Do you maybe want to see what you can get out of a Sam Howell as a rookie? That'll be something to monitor, but he is not starting this week. Green Bay listed as 5.5-point favorites, and guys, it just feels impossible right now to predict Green Bay to cover a 5.5-point spread on the road, even against the backup quarterback. I think they get this win. They're desperate. That was a horrible home loss. The offense with the young receivers looks terrible right now, but I think in this game, the amount of money they've invested into their defense, no other NFL team has invested the amount of money, the amount of draft capital into their defense like the Green Bay Packers have in recent years. I think their defense possibly gets a takeaway, gets a pick six, facing a backup quarterback, and they just do win this game 24-21. Next, we've got an AFC North matchup. Both of these teams desperate for wins. The Cleveland Browns and just how horrible they've been with Jacoby Brissett, especially this past week against Bailey Zappi getting trounced at home. They're on the road now, and they're in Baltimore, and we know Baltimore, Lamar Jackson, the late turnovers against the Giants, that was another game for Baltimore. It seemed like they were in control till the end. The late turnovers hurt them. Both of these teams need wins. Baltimore currently 6.5-point favorites. The Browns are a weird team. I think they can cover this spread, but it's extremely hard for me right now to pick Jacoby Brissett to beat Lamar Jackson on the road. I know Lamar Jackson's had a few turnovers, but you see what Jacoby Brissett's doing. The Browns have to have such a specific game script where they're either down by, a touchdown or they're leading because they want to run the ball. If they get down significantly, we saw against the Patriots mid-third quarter, the game's over. There's just no hope for Jacoby Brissett to lead any sort of comeback down 2 scores in the second half, down a score in the fourth quarter. It seems almost impossible. The Browns are so reliant on the run. And guys, Baltimore, people are down on them. They're 3-3, but in their 3 losses, they were leading all of those games in the second half. They've been very competitive. Of course, they're 6.5-point favorites here. The Browns still a talented team with Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, and that defense. But I think Baltimore 3-3, they get it done. The Browns, unfortunately, here fall, I believe, to 2-5 at this point. They're really stacking up the losses. Next, we've got Detroit. The Lions coming off their bye week. They are in Dallas taking on probably Dak Prescott. That has not been confirmed, but it seems like the Cooper Rush hype, the Cooper Rush magic is over after the Philadelphia game, and Dak Prescott is ready to kind of ease back into a nice little home matchup. Dallas listed as the touchdown favorite. And guys, we saw the Detroit Lions offense kind of come down to earth in New England, just like I predicted. I still think there needs to be a little bit more of a correction. It happens in this game. Dallas, very talented. They've got one of the best defenses in football at home. This is another situation where I think Detroit gets manhandled. Dallas wins this game easily. Dak Prescott coming off injury. There is an element of wonder that, like we don't know exactly how he's going to be off of injury, but he is a veteran. I would expect him to be just fine. This is a perfect game to bring him into at home in a 1 o'clock spot against Detroit. Dallas wins this game by 2 touchdowns, in my opinion. Next, we've got Indianapolis traveling to Tennessee. So a few weeks ago, this game was in Indianapolis, and I said the Colts would beat the Titans. The Titans end up winning. They got outgained by about 200 yards. It was a total fluke. Ladies and gentlemen, the Indianapolis Colts are winning this game. The Tennessee Titans' current touchdown and red zone rate is completely unsustainable. The Tennessee Titans right now are the luckiest team in the NFL. Not sustainable. They keep getting outgained in these games and winning. Whenever they get in the red zone, they score a touchdown. It is not sustainable. They will settle for some field goals. They will lose this game to Indianapolis. Jonathan Taylor, we thought he was going to be back last week. We think he should definitely be back this week. This is a big division game for the Colts. They get this win on the road. They gut it out. Next, we've got an interesting, when is the last time the Giants have been in Jacksonville? But it is the New York Giants traveling to Jacksonville. The surprise New York Giants at 5-1. Jaguars sitting at 2-4. The spread is Jacksonville -3 at home. So basically a pick 'em. And guys, I'll be honest, I think Jacksonville is going to annihilate New York and send the Giants back down to earth a little bit. It just feels like this is a correction game to me. The Giants are not as good as 5-1. Also, I think Jacksonville is a little bit better, possibly around a 500 team this year. They've got an offense that's improving at home with Trevor Lawrence. I think it's a big game for Trevor Lawrence. Also, Jacksonville's defense forces a few turnovers against Daniel Jones, and this turns into a little bit of a rout. Jacksonville wins this game big against New York at home and improves to 3-4. This is a correction game. This is a parity game, guys. Next, we have Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucks coming off that miserable home or away loss to Pittsburgh, of all teams, right around 9-point favorites. They lose that game to a rookie. They're traveling to Carolina to take on an absolute disaster of a franchise. Will Carolina trade Christian McCaffrey or anyone else? They already traded Robbie Anderson. It's tough to pick Tampa Bay. They just aren't covering this year, Tampa Bay, to cover against any team. I would stay away from this game. Tampa Bay currently a 10.5-point favorite due to Carolina with the backup quarterback situation just not moving the ball at all in the game against the Rams. So this is a big spread for the road team. I don't know what to make of this Tampa Bay team with Tom Brady. It looks like he's finally showing signs of slowing down. But again, Tampa Bay's had 2 straight bigger spreads. They didn't cover either of them. This is a road game against the Carolina team. It's impossible to pick Carolina to win this game due to their situation with the coach getting fired, the Baker Mayfield injury, or getting benched, or both, or whatever. Christian McCaffrey trade rumors. It's impossible. It's a mess right now for Carolina. I think Carolina's best scenario is possibly to go, 1-16, 2-15, get the number 1 overall pick, and then pick one of the top quarterbacks. We will see what they do, but I do have Tampa Bay winning this game by about 10 points. They could certainly win it by more. It's just tough to predict based on how they've played recently. Moving to the 4 o'clock window, we've got a 4:05 game. It's the New York Jets playing at the 4:05 in the 4:05 window. They're traveling to Denver. And guys, what am I doing? I'm going against New York this week. I'm taking Denver at home. Denver always plays lower scoring games this year. Russell Wilson's got an injury. He's playing through it. He's not been good. I'm guessing the Denver Broncos' identity in 2022, how they're going to win games, keep it low scoring, use defense. Their running game is completely ineffective. They're using, at this point, Latavius Murray. But I do think in a home spot against the Jets team who's been good, guys, it's important to note, they're still not throwing the ball. Zach Wilson, I'm not saying he's going to be a bust or anything, but the Jets are winning, so it's kind of getting glossed over. Zach Wilson has not been good, or at least he hasn't shown anything. You could say he's doing what he has to do. They're winning, whatever, but it's just mainly running the ball, and you go on the road at that Denver defense. I think Denver shuts them down in the run game and they win a lower scoring game coming off that Monday night loss to the Chargers, where again, this Denver defense, they're impressive. They shut down Justin Herbert for the most part and that Chargers offense. I will take Denver. Home game, 4:05 game. They win this close, low scoring. Under hits 21-17. The next 4:05 game, it's Houston at Las Vegas. And guys, this is the coming out party for the Raiders this season, in my opinion. I think Derek Carr throws for maybe 3 or 4 touchdowns. It's just a perfect matchup in a dome at home against a Houston team that's not very good, I do know. I think both of these teams are coming off the bye weeks. It is interesting that Davante Adams did not get suspended for pushing. I guess he's facing some sort of punishment from getting sued by the dude or whatever. But it is weird how Mike Evans gets suspended a game for pushing a player, but Davante Adams doesn't get suspended at all for pushing personnel. You'd think it'd be worse to push the personnel or what, the NFL worker or whatever. I don't know, but it does seem like Davante Adams is going to be playing. He's not getting suspended or anything like that. So as long as he plays, I think the Raiders run this game up. I think this game has an outside shot to be the highest scoring game of week number 7. It's just a feel. It's just a vibe. I like a higher scoring game with the Raiders coming out, scoring 2 quick touchdowns, leading the entire game. Houston's able to generate some points. They've got a good young running back. Davis Mills can move the ball, especially in garbage time. But I will take the Raiders to cover the 7-point spread and win this game. On to the 4:25 games. We've got Seattle, who continues to have a very efficient offense. Kenneth Walker, the rookie running back, looks so good. They're on the road at the LA Chargers. The Chargers coming off that home close win. I think this is a game where Justin Herbert really breaks out. And guys, I think this is possibly the week where we start to see higher scores. Everyone's trying to guess. They're trying to predict which is the week where it flips, because we've seen all these lower scoring games just based on these matchups, especially in the afternoon window. I like these games to be more higher scoring. You've got Justin Herbert coming off a bad performance. He's going to be ready to rip it. You've got Seattle, who, yes, they played well last week. Their defense against Kyler Murray is a completely different animal. Seattle's had games where they haven't played well. The New Orleans game, for example. I will take the over in this game. I'll take the Chargers to win 38-28, and their offense breaks out a little bit. This would be the game of the week. I'm sure if this is on CBS, this will be the Romo and Nance game. It is a rematch of a former Super Bowl, Jimmy G versus Patrick Mahomes. And guys, it's interesting because I went back and forth on this game. Right now, Kansas City 3-point favorites coming off that close home loss to Buffalo. Originally, I said I'm going with the Chiefs. It's Mahomes versus Jimmy G. Don't overcomplicate it. Then I said, San Francisco at home. I love their roster. I picked them to go deep into the playoffs this year. They've probably got the most talented roster in the NFL. Nick Bosa probably coming back. But then I came back and said, listen, this is Patrick Mahomes coming off a loss versus Jimmy G. I've got to pick the Kansas City Chiefs to win this game outright. I'm sorry. Patrick Mahomes, Jimmy G. Mahomes is coming off a loss. I understand San Francisco has a really talented defense. They're probably getting Nick Bosa back. This is a quarterback-driven league. That's why I'm taking the Chiefs to bounce back on the road. Very good game this is. Of course, San Francisco, their performance last week against Atlanta was laughable, but again, they were without Nick Bosa. I'll take Kansas City here. Moving to the Sunday night game. Guys, when is the last time the Miami Dolphins hosted a Sunday night game? I love this. I love getting new teams into the act, especially on Sunday night. Sunday night is the most exclusive window in the NFL. It's more exclusive than Monday night, and we've got Miami hosting a Sunday night game with Tua Tagovailoa coming back. Guys, the story on Tua is he could have played last week, but the NFL, I'm guessing they told Miami, listen, we don't want concussions to be an issue. This is a horrible look for the league. You need to rest him one extra week, and I think that's what they did. Tua should be back. Miami, a touchdown favorite with Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill against the Steelers with a rookie quarterback. And guys, I think it might be a little bit too much when it comes to the overall 7 points. I think Miami wins this game, but Tua making his first start back, we really don't know how good he's going to be. And the Steelers, even with Kenny Pickett, they've shown the ability to move the ball. Mitch Trubisky comes in late in that game, converts 2 very hard 3rd and longs against a good defense in Tampa Bay. This Steelers team with their wide receivers, and they're very well coached. I like them to cover this spread, but Miami, with the return of Tua, will win this game 23-20. And on to the Monday night game, the last game of week number 7. It is an NFC versus AFC battle. Chicago, we get another week of Chicago on primetime. They are traveling to face possibly Bailey Zappi and the rising New England Patriots with Bill Belichick. Guys, I want this game to be closer. I think a lot of people are going to anticipate a very low score. I think a little bit more points get scored in this one for some reason, but you're going to pick Justin Fields on the road against Bill Belichick with that offense. It's impossible. I cannot do it. The Patriots right now -7.5. I would say they're probably going to cover it, but it's just so tough. I would like to see a breakout game from Justin Fields, but against this defense, the way they've been playing the past few weeks. And then another interesting story, Bailey Zappi, quarterback controversy with Mac Jones. Guys, I don't know how Bailey Zappi fell to whatever it was, the 4th, 5th, or 6th round, whatever. It's shocking to me. I think there's just this weird negative stigma with like Western Kentucky quarterbacks. I said he was going to be great. He comes in as a rookie and he's already being at least serviceable. This is a great sign for Bailey Zappi's future in the NFL, and I think they get the win in a surprisingly higher scoring game. I think that's the overall theme this week. We're going to see a lot of games that are a little bit higher scoring. We're going to reach a turn in the NFL in week number 7. But guys, that is going to do it for this video, my official NFL week number 7 picks and predictions. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.